Welcome back, YouTube. So today we're going to look at another part of the diaphragm. I thought I might as well. So last time I did the hanger steak, right? The hanger steak comes from the hanging tendon or hanging tender portion inside the rib cage. This is skirt steak. So I have two. They came in two packages. Here's one that's I've unfolded already. And here's one that wasn't, and I'll let you watch me unfold this one. So this is just how they wrapped it. So this is how I got it from the butcher, and you'll see that it's long and thin, very thin, and has a lot of fat on the outside mixed in with this. Now there's inside and outside skirt steak, which is again different than the hanger steak. I'm actually going to save this one till later, but I just wanted to show you. Watch me unroll it. I'm going to roll it back up and save it for later. And sometimes you'll find with these that you can peel off a little bit more of the skin on the outside. So I've already kind of done that a little bit with this other one. I've done as much as I can, and sometimes you won't be able to peel a little bit more of the fat off, but if you can peel a bit off, I go ahead and try. So I'll do that more with this one another time. I'm just going to re-roll it back up for now and just put it away. So here's the original one that I opened today. I'll have this one tomorrow. Oops. Unfolding. This one's one I'm going to have today, and you'll see how long it is. You can get even longer sometimes. And because it's so long, I'm not going to be able to fit this in my pan, and so I'm just going to make a few strategic cuts for today so that I can cook these in my pan in one go. And there we are. So now what's nice about the skirt steak, it's quite tender. Now it's not as tender as the hanger steak at all because of all the fat, but if you cook it lightly and you go cut it against the grain, you can get very tender steak as well. So as always with this kind of steak, right? I don't want to overcook it. And you can see I can peel some of the fat off again. In fact, let me just see if I can get a little bit more of that. You can, if you cook it too long, it's going to be tough, and we don't want it to be tough. So we're going to do. Well, you want to do at least medium rare for most people, but I'm going to go blue rare, of course. And so, yeah, I'm just going to throw these in. Now, what am I using to cook with today? Let me throw them in, and I'll talk about that while it's cooking. So again, I have preheated, in this case, I have ghee. So I'm all out of my homemade tallow, which is really disappointing. I just don't happen to have any, and not a lot of fat to make it out of recently. I just haven't found anything, but here we go. So I'm going to throw this in, and I'm going to flip it in a second. I won't leave it long for sure. So while that's cooking, let me just show you what I'm cooking in. So this is ghee. You don't have to buy the same brand, of course, but ghee is clarified butter. So clarified butter is butter that's been simmered and all the water has been evaporated out of the butter and the milk solids have been evaporated out of the butter. And so you get pure butter fat. And the nice thing about cooking in pure butter fat is that it doesn't create it doesn't burn and give you a brown texture like regular butter can. All right, so that's plenty for that thin one. That's probably too much. This odd shaped piece is going to be a little harder to cook on the edge. I'm going to flip all of these. Looks like these thicker ones could be turned back over again once more. This one's almost done already. Anyway, you'll see that the oil in here, right? It's very clear. It's the clarified butter. A little bit better to cook with if you're so inclined and you want a healthy fat that's still animal-based. A lot easier to cook with that than butter, at least, although I use butter, of course, on occasion. All right, so again, it's gonna be a little hard to get all the edges here. Let me turn that up a smidgen. I feel like that piece is done. There's not too much else to say about the skirt. Oh yeah, I guess there's a little bit more I could say. So there's two types, the inside skirt and the outside skirt. So I was talking about that it came from the diaphragm. I'll talk a little bit about that. So the cavity for the diaphragm has two muscles. Oops, get a bite. cavity for the diaphragm has the skirt stake on the inside and outside portion. And so I don't know if these both are inside, both outside, or a mixture of the two, assuming one of each. One would have come from the inside portion of the diaphragm, and the other one's just on the outer portion. And they're very similar looking. The outer is a little bit bigger, a little thicker. So I've read, but since I'm not there harvesting and I'm not sure which comes from which when I get them, it's hard for me to just by looking at them tell you which one is which. But so the muscles anyway are part of the diaphragm as well, and that's why they're so thin, because they're around the cavity or the cage of the rib cage itself, the diaphragm. I mean, I shouldn't say rib cage; I should say diaphragm. Okay, so I'm cooking the edges now, and I'm going to flip the big ones once more at least. It looks like this wasn't hot enough to really get it done quickly. I usually do it a little bit hotter. But that's okay. I've got, as I said, a funny shaped one, which I'm going to have to kind of turn on its edges as well and try and get everything, just to make sure that I'm not, again, getting any contamination from whoever has touched or harvested this for me in the first place. The butcher or the slaughterhouse. So I'll get the edges here for sure a little bit, at least, if not a little bit more. And then I'm going to do that original side as well, just a bit more. Just because the heat doesn't seem that high. It's finally starting to do a little bit more than it was. Anyway, I'll show this to you. I'll cut up a little bit when I get a piece. And interestingly enough, I often cut with the grain. I don't mind it at all. I don't find it tough that way either, but they say to go against the grain. I'll show you both. Okay, so yeah, which side did I need to do more? This one? Yeah, this side. Side a bit more here. Same with this one. Yeah, and I got the edges there to do. How's this one coming? This one looks pretty good. Yeah, this one looks pretty good as is. I'll leave it just for a second longer. And try and get some of these edges here as well. Because it's funny shaped, it's hard to say. I have to weigh this. It's a pretty good meal though. Probably close to a pound, maybe a little less. Maybe 13 ounces, something like that. So it's a pretty good sized steak. I'm going to enjoy it for sure. And I really do quite enjoy this as well. I mean, obviously, like I said, the hanger's more tender, as is the filet mignon flank steak, or not flank, the other one I did there, the shoulder muscle ones. Flat iron is the one I was thinking of. I haven't done flank yet. Flank can be pretty tender as well, though. We'll talk about flank at some point when I get a chance. All right, these are essentially done. I just want to really get that edge a bit. And maybe this one too. Yeah, one more edge here as well. Only problem with this, right, is if you're trying to cook it lightly, it's hard not to overcook it a little bit because of all the edges that you have to try and get to. So leave that up like that. There we go. All right. Should be good. It took a little longer than normal. Just the pan wasn't just as hot as I normally have. That was the problem. All right, so let's take a look at these. And we'll look at both the thin and thick portions, and I'll cut it in both directions just to show you. All right, pretty big meal, like I said. I mean, that's going to be pretty filling. All right, so let's take a look at a piece here. So this is a thicker one. Where's one of my thinner ones? Here's a thinner one. So I'll cut with the grain pretty easily. I find that can be chewy. Now you can see that this is actually overdone for me, right? Because it's like medium, or maybe some of it will be medium rare when I get to the thicker portion. I'm cutting against the grain. So a little chewy with the grain. And you'll see that the this one was able to get blue rare. And so it's got a nice even cook on the outside. Now it's much thicker here, of course, which helps too. So I find them equally chewy. And it's a little chewy, however, very, very, very flush with water. Very juicy. Water and fat. And the fat on the outside helps it taste good as well, even though it's a little bit chewier because of it. And then you'll see the meat on the very inside, though, without the fat, is quite soft. Looks a lot like the hanger steak in its consistency, right? Almost bubbly. So because this is a bit chewy, it'll take me a little while to eat, but it's delicious. And I'm going to really enjoy this. Here's my breakfast for today. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.